Hello, my name is Amy Levine. The research I am proposing is finding which instructional strategies encourage students to engage in more dialogue while solving problems in an elementary mathematics classroom. I will go over information about how this topic interested me and what research I found during my literature review, the traditional framework used to conduct this type of research, the data I will be collecting, and my methodology to analyze the data. This past year, while working at Corpus Christi ISD, I was asked to see how I could change the way I gave feedback to my students during mathematics instruction. This piqued my interest to research what was effective feedback to my students, which led to the interest of not just my dialogue with my students, but how they could engage in dialogue with each other. My students come from a low socioeconomic background and historically struggle with communicating in academic setting. This gap has negatively affected their academic achievement. During my literature review, I found a great deal of information about the benefits of dialogue in classrooms. It has been surmised that collaborative activities where the students are actively engaged in an activity together was beneficial to student learning and their ability to reason. There was the question of what form of dialogue was most beneficial to help with students' ability to reason and rationalize. Using an ethnographic framework to conduct a case study to find what type of language was actually used when students were actively comparing, exploring, and defending their work was coined as exploratory talk. The key words found during exploratory talk are examples of because, I think, which, and what. Researchers found when integrating this form of dialogue purposely into instruction, there is evidence of the benefits it has on students' ability to find more effective strategies to rationalize and solve mathematical problems, which can also carry over not only during collaborative activities, but whenever they're having to solve problems independently. My proposal would be to find what are the specific instructional practices teachers are using that engage students to participate in exploratory dialogue. For my proposed research, I'll be using qualitative strategies using the ethnographic and case study framework researchers from my literature review employed. I plan to record observations of upper elementary classrooms and take field notes and copies of artifacts students are using. After my observations, I will review these recordings to analyze the number of times exploratory talk is observed and couple that information with the artifacts taken from the activity. During analysis, the information in the data table will be coded to find any possible patterns or themes in what kinds of specific instructional strategies or activities used to initiate more instances of exploratory dialogue. Here, in Figure 1, I have an example of how I plan to take notes of transcriptions from the recordings. These transcriptions are coupled with the artifacts from the classroom. Figure 2 is an example of a table I propose to use to help categorize and analyze the observations to find patterns and themes of activities observed that lead to greater instances of exploratory talk. Thank you for watching my presentation. Please send me any feedback or questions you might have.